Welcome to our open house afternoon here with the king and queen of open houses. As far as I'm concerned, they don't have any equals in this business. They make a major commitment to doing an open house, and it's reflected in everything that they do. And I don't want to steal their thunder. I just want to go ahead and get started. But we trained both of them, and they've exceeded my wildest expectations. And they've made. Pardon?
I'm carrying up. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's anyway. I don't know how you set this guy up. I feel bad for you, Jenny.
I know, everyone does.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, without further ado, let's get into this.
Well, real quick, kind of how it started. You guys are all new. Most. When we started, this is our 6th year. 0 business. And so classes with Jeff, it's like, when you don't have business, even though you're sending out all the letters and everything else, maybe open houses will help. So we, all of a sudden, everybody here knows Hal, who helps cook, everything else. Hal's been here a long time. Hal goes, I'm gonna pick one out for you, and he did. So we started doing open houses, completely out of the deal. And as we've gone, we've gotten better and better and better. But we kind of built our business. We went into a little deal every week. We asked, like you guys do, anybody want an open house, blah, blah, blah. Well, 3 weeks in a row, we got 3 open houses. We sold all 3 of those houses for $1.3 million, okay? Went from 0 to that, and then went back to crap, just so you know. But then we became known as the people to do open houses. So instead of us having to go out and shoot an email, all the big hitters at the time would call us. Would you do our open house? And so that's how we built our business. And last year, we had a really good year, and most of the time, it's a 50-50 split of buyers and sellers. We had more buyers because of open houses. We just generate more buyers. So anyway.
So we just started wanting to set ourselves apart because going into other open houses, like I'm sure you guys have taken clients through, or you just reviewing open houses, by yourself for your clients. I just started noticing that a lot of the other agents from other brokerages were just simply sitting there with nothing out. Some of them didn't even have anything to pass out. This is before COVID and things like that.
Sometimes they're asleep. For real.
Someone had just got a package of Save Mark cookies, and they had them just in the package still and
unopened,
and they were just sitting there. And I just said, there's got to be something better to set yourself apart, so that people remember you. So we've done different things throughout the years. This is just one thing that we've done that we try to set up consistently. Then we'll change it up on different holidays. As we approach different holidays, we'll just change it up. So this is where we kind of always have something like cookies. If we don't do the cookie thing, and these are store-bought, but we usually make our own. And we always we're always on the hunt for like different types of chocolate chip cookies. So it's usually just chocolate chip cookies. If you have a favorite recipe or something like that you guys have, then do that. And we just try to display them so that people know that it's something, and if you don't have time, like a lot of times if I don't have time, I'll go buy something, but at least I'm putting it in a display case instead of just leaving it in the package. Let them know that you attempted to make it look different. You're not just went to the store on your way and then opened it up, in a plastic thing. Make it look different. Candy, if you don't have, the time to make something and you didn't have time to run to the store, always just have candy. Get a cheap bag of candy and then just put it in another display thing. Don't leave it in the plastic bag that comes in. Make it look different. We always have different things. Like have you guys started doing your KB core yet? Have you dived into your KB core and set all that up? So we always have our open houses. I just picked this one out right now. So all these display cases are from our last week's open house. So here's some of the things we'll do, and I'll get into all these different reports that we do, because we do different reports all the time to capture different things. This is always at our open houses on an iPad or your computer, whatever you have. So this is directly related to our KV Core. So anytime that they sign in, we capture their information. It goes directly to the KV Core. So like last week's open house that we did, we have a client that we're dealing with right now that he wants a 4-bedroom and he wants it in the specific area that we did our open house at. So I'm calling him and I'm staying in contact with him because he's ready to buy now. So always have this set up where anybody, have you guys done this yet? So you haven't done this yet, but you haven't, how many people have done their KV Core and know how to get into their KV Core? So a couple of you have played around with it a little bit. Okay, so go in there and learn how to get your KV Core open house app. So this is just an app. You can have it on your phone, you can have it on an iPad, you can have it on your laptop. And then I'm capturing their name, first and last name, their email, and their phone number. And then I always just do one question is, are you currently working with a realtor? That's all I ask. And once they fill that in, it hits into my KV Core right away, and I know that they're doing that. Now we've done this a couple different ways. We sometimes, like last week, we set it up on a stand. And we'll have this somewhere where we're located. Like last week, we had it located in the kitchen because it just depends on how the house is set up. This house wasn't set up to where we could do it near the front door because the front door went right into a living room where it wasn't set up where we were gonna be at. It was kind of a weird setup, so we were mainly gonna be in the kitchen. So that way, if we're all gonna be in the kitchen, then we want this with us so that we can say, can you please sign in? And here, by the way, here is, our reports. Take one, which is, this is kind of set up weird, but we have our reports here and we have our business cards right there. So that way we give them, the house reports. And typically what CJ started doing, and that was a good idea of hers, a couple of months ago, she goes, let's print our reports that we hand them on a little bit heavier paper. So we did splurge and get a little bit heavier paper. That's a 30 weight instead of a typical 20. It's a little bit, just feels a little bit nicer. And so she was doing one a couple months ago, a nicer house, and so I went and bought that. You don't have to do that, but it does, when you're doing a really nice house, it does make it feel like it's a little bit more special instead of a little bit lesser weighted paper. So that's a 30 weight. You can even get a 40 weight and print them. And so we pass that out, and that's a different type of report. And play around. Have you guys played around with the different reports that are on the MLS? That's the other thing, is play around with those, and I'll explain that to you in a second about the different reports and which ones to use and how to set the different reports apart from the others, okay? But this is just KV Core. We capture everyone that comes in. We just bought this setup to where we can display it like this as well, so that it's set up differently if this isn't working, okay? Then we bought this little setup to where if we don't like that, because sometimes you will get people that bypass you and they won't sign up, or they'll act like they're signing up.
Plus you can put your hand in it and you can work at a restaurant and
Yes.
take orders.
No, but you can put it here on your hand, and as if it's a super busy place, some people will act like they're signing in and they really don't, because we know, because it immediately hits on my phone.
It sends you a text message saying,
Yeah.
so-and-so signed up, so you know there's somebody.
And when we first
Yeah.
started, we had a drawing, and we would give away a box of See's candy. And so here's how we found this out. So people would sign in and do all this stuff. Well, at the end we'd get home and we'd pull out, send them a little deal, wrong, fake phone number.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, always.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'll eat it. So we were good.
Well, she also sets up that, if you know how to use like hashtags on KV Core, and so she'll name it like if it's on Raymond Street or whatever, open house Raymond. So that's automatically going to your KV Core under that hashtag, so you know where those leads are coming from.
Yeah. So I always do that, and I'll show you how to set that up in a second, because I already set this one up. And like what CJ was saying, I always name them open house. Like this is Alluvial, this is like $1 million house over on Alluvial. and it's not my listing, it's no one's in here, I just grabbed it real quick, that's like a $1.2 million house. So I would do this open house alluvial, open house whatever, so that when I go into KV Core, they're all under open house, and I just go to the street name of all the open houses I do. So that way I can go grab that client out of under that open house street name. So like we did Bluff last week, it's open house Bluff. And then I can go to that client that I'm looking for and find him quicker. If I forget where he came from, you know, I can go under open house, whatever. So that way it's a little bit easier to find them. And then this way, if you have a super busy open house, a lot of times it will get overwhelmed, and a lot of times you'll miss people. So what we'll do is we'll also have, you can pull this off of list reports, which comes straight from Lending Concepts. So a lot of times if you have a long line of people trying to sign into this, you want to get them signed in either way, it doesn't matter, and you don't want them to wait and get frustrated and then not get signed in at all. So we'll grab someone, one of us will grab this and say, well, okay, go ahead and sign in right here, which is actually getting the same information.
And what we do too is, it's just kind of weird, but on that, it's blank, obviously, when you first get there. I'll always make up a name, and I'll make up a phone number to where they're not the first person. So I'll use some sports guy. I use JT Snow to play for the Giants. I put him sometimes, so always the first one, put my grandkids' names. But at least there's one or two there, so it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm not scared to do this, you know? So that's one of the little things. Real quick too, as you're doing these, if we're gonna back up, signage, depending on how you can do it. Some people will go an hour before. Like what I do, depending where it's at, I try to go at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Put the signs up, but do not put it on the house, because then it's like a garage sale. If you got a garage sale and it says open at 7, there's people at 5 and they're gonna walk in. Same thing as that open house. So I'll put signs leading all the different main roads and stuff, and then not put up maybe the last 2 or 3. But that way you're set, you go home, do whatever. Now, if it's someplace far from your house, and you know, you could just make sure you go early. And if you can, this was taught to me and I've never done it. That's why I lose signs, which there are signs, is take a picture where you put them. Because if you're putting up 10, 12, 20 signs, at the end of the day, if you've been busy, you're like, oh gosh, you know, and then you got to drive around. God, did I have one over there? Or you get a call the next day, hey, there's a sign over on that, you know. So kind of keep track of them that way too.
We always get to an open house about 45 minutes to an hour prior. Always just think of an open house day as a whole day worth of work, because it does take a whole day. So just think of getting to the open house at least 45 minutes prior to, because this does take that much time to set up. So that's why he will go and set up the open house signs earlier. If you are not working with someone, you know, that you need to go do that prior. Turn that off.
It's the same client.
That's just a client. They're trying to get they'll call both of us at the same time. So go, and if you're working with someone that day, you guys work it out as to who's going to set up the signs earlier that morning. You know, work with them, so that way you're not doing the whole thing. And then go set it up, get the signs ready, get there prior 45 minutes earlier to get everything set up. So we always bring a candle, because a lot of times, you know, the houses might not smell that great. So you want to get the candle going early. You want to get this type of setup somewhere where you're going to be setting. Bring some extra pins. We buy this off of a real estate company online. I'm sure Amazon even has them. This one is just called, I just lost it. I'll think of it. I'll look it up in a second. They send me emails all the time. But anyway, we buy signs from them, and it's just like saying that our sellers would really want you to sign up. So that way we say to them, please sign in, because our sellers require us to have everyone that comes through their house sign in. So that way it's a security thing. And you can blame it on anything. You can say our brokerage requires us to.
I blame it on COVID.
You know, or yeah, due to COVID now
if somebody
we
gets
need
sick,
to
I
have
want to be
people
able to
sign
get a
in.
hold of you.
And then that way you'll get more people signing in. But say something, because if you don't say anything, they're not gonna sign in. I mean, you gotta say something. And some people won't do the digital, so just say, and then, but yet they'll do this. And who knows, I mean, you will still get people give you fake things, but that's just part of the thing, you know, and that's just the way it is. Always have business cards, lots of them. Have lenders, so have your lending concepts, get some cards from lending concepts prior to an open house and have lending concepts cards there because you'll always be asked about lenders. So have their cards there. Some of the things that we did in the beginning, because this is cheap stuff that you can do, have, you know, sometimes not so much in the cold weather, but in the warmer weather, we'll get little bottled waters and have bottled waters on ice to pass out. So that's some of the things that you can do. Now, about the different things that we do, we get this off of KV Core as well. So this one right here is the QR code, and then we just add our own verbiage up here that says scan me for more photos and information on this house. So if they scan this, you'll get that information that they scanned it. So they will get more photos and things like that, and this is straight off of KV Core. Have you guys done this yet, the QR code? So if you go on to the listing, even if it's not your listing, if you go to the listing and off to the right, they'll say more actions, right? I think it says, I'll show you guys. It says more actions and it'll say QR code. And you just hit QR code and it prints. And so even if it's not your listing, you can do this. So, and then it will print this and they will get more information. And so you can ask, you can tell them, go ahead and scan this, and they'll scan it and they'll get all the information.
Does that have your information?
Yeah, so, here, does someone want to scan it real quick and see what
Anyone?
it does? Anyone? Try it. It should.
Does
That's good, don't call.
Does this take you to the listing on KV4?
That's going to take you to last week's listing. It's going to take you to Bluff.
On KV Core though.
How big lots though?
Ever since that thing with the police, I thought maybe.
Tell me what it takes you to. It should take you to Bluff.
Slowly.
It does. It's, I don't know if it's this Wi-Fi or if it's just KV Core stuff of how slow their platform is. I don't know. And all the stuff that I'm showing you guys is just so that when you're at an open house, you want to instill in the people that are coming that you're very knowledgeable. So all this stuff is so that you're not sitting there and hosting an open house for someone else and you're not coming across as if you know what you're doing. Because a lot of times when I would go into other people's open houses, they were just saying, I don't know, it's not my listing. I don't really know, it's not my listing. Come across as if at the bottom does it say Jack and
Yeah.
Sherry. So
It's a full report of everything, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
You're also, what she's getting, you gotta look at it like this. You may not sell this home that you're doing the open house, but you're fishing, you're trying to get clients.
Right.
But you also could get a listing because you could be auditioning for a neighbor.
yeah.
Hal just got a listing from an open house because the people just says, I love the way you do your open houses. Would you sell our house? And that was strictly off the open house. So you gotta look at it like this. Odds are you're not, like when I said that we sold the first three, or whatever, that's rare. It does happen. But the whole deal is am I getting one? Am I getting two maybe potential clients? And again, if it's somebody in the neighborhood, which you're gonna get a lot of those people, and they may be auditioning you, and you don't even know it. Man, I love the way those guys just did that open house. I want them in our house.
Some other things is this is off listing reports as well. So
We
this
have
is
free access to list reports through Lending Concept, so you just have to set up your account. And there's a ton of different reports on there that you can print, but we just use the open house flyer, I think it's called, and then you can customize the photos that it uses, some of the information that it has, and like the theme colors.
so they have a ton of theme colors.
Yeah.
And even if, again, even if it's right, and even if it's not your listing, once you have your account, you can still print anything off of there. So this comes off of list reports again, and what's cool about it is pages right there. Whoever is up, you know, like this is ours up here, but then the vendor's always down here. This is off list reports. So this is our open house from last week. They can text this code to here, and it'll get all the photos off of here. So when your people are coming in, again, this is another way to get, you know, to get the information. They text something to here, and then they get more photos. So you tell them that. So it's just, again, letting them know that you're knowledgeable. You have access to technology. You know how to get, you know, the technology, and you want them to know that you're knowledgeable. So again, like CJ said, you have all different ways to format it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll do like wherever I'm in, which district, high school, I'll try to match the colors. I do subliminal stuff like that. I'll take tissue paper. Oh, and this is the neighborhood information. So it'll tell you like what's around there. It'll tell you the schools in the area. It'll tell you what's outdoors, things to do around the area, eating places, shopping. I'll take tissue paper and I'll stuff the color of the high school around the area of the house I'm doing. So if I'm doing Bullard High, I'm going to take their colors of light blue and dark blue or whatever they are. And I'll look it up and I'll place bags like that, and I'll put tissue paper, super cheap, you know, because everyone should have
You
it
get
on
those bags here.
Huh?
You get those bags here.
Yeah, so those bags come from here. I stuff them with tissue paper. It's just kind of like marketing, which actually works, you know. It's subliminal. They don't know that's what you're doing, but it's all about little tiny marketing tricks. And again, it doesn't cost anything. In the beginning, we just incorporated stuff that is cheap and doesn't cost anything to do, other than the display cases, you know. And I started off with the cheapest ones I could find, you know,
They
off
just
Walmart.
keep this bin in their garage with this stuff in it all the time.
Yeah.
And then they just switch off the flyers. So
Yeah.
then it's like, that's all, you're ready for the open house.
And what's the name of the bin?
Pinky.
Pinky, like your shirt.
We've had that. We have had that from the beginning, that same bin. So that bin is ready to go with all this stuff all the time. It's in the garage, like CJ said, we just change these out. These go back in. We do this on Saturday. We usually do Sunday open houses. We get everything ready on Saturday. It's back in there, and then Sunday morning, boom, we're off. Yes.
You said this report here, you didn't compile this information. This
No.
is
That generates automatically on list reports. List reports.
list reports
Yeah.
out of,
Many concepts.
You get access to that through Page. You can.
okay,
I don't.
that's for any of those things out of Realty Concepts.
No,
That's
and
the
it's
ending list.
Really?
So you
but
just-
she has the account and everything.
Yeah, you just have to set up your account, and then do you know Katie?
I'm learning this for the first time.
Yeah,
We can have
I
Paige
don't-
set you up.
I don't know if they automatically send out an email or if you need a contact page for
Yeah, the lender
to
will
generate
send
the
you
code.
an invite.
Yeah.
It's through the classes though, through the class.
So yeah, and then you just go on there and then you like put in the address, and it takes like 5 minutes to generate, and it pulls all of that information. And then you can customize some of the information, like on the front of that one, you can change like the description of the house. You can change the
pictures.
photos. And right there, I think we usually just do the bedroom and bathroom count, but you can change that too. There's like, and then there's probably like 20 different flyers that you can print
Yeah.
off of there.
Like I know Nee, she's really great. She just has done it for me, like the last couple of weekends, you know, and she's totally fine doing it. If you don't have time or if you're
Yeah.
behind, you
Yeah.
just kind of like email her and give her the address.
You're right.
And you know, and just getting, and you know who's doing it, what lender you want, what LO, and she has them kind of waiting for you at the.
Yeah.
So if you don't have time, you know
Right.
she's great about that.
Yeah.
It's super quick and easy too. If you guys just want to like play around with it before an open house and just see what's on there, you can put in any address. So.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
do it
then-
either way. however it works, but otherwise, if you get to your own account, you can just play around with it, and like she said, there's different colors. So again, we would try to play around with the colors to try to match the school we're with. CJ just likes to use her own style of colors.
I like to just match the pictures of the house, like to, I don't know.
There is
Yeah,
another
that's-
one. Where'd it go? I just saw it. Where'd it go? It's over here. No, it's right here. So this is another one. This is on the MLS. This is the
Would we
report.
set these out throughout the house as well?
In the bathroom, kitchen,
Yeah, so if somebody's
living room.
walking around, oh, you know, in the bathroom or in whatever, you know.
And then we'll
as they
put
go around
business
the house.
cards by
Yeah.
each of them. I think they have like 8 or something display cases.
Yeah, we have a lot because we want it throughout the whole house, plastered. And what CJ started doing, and we incorporated it, so like we're always evolving, is we put the display cases throughout the whole house, but in the bathrooms, we'll put our business cards along with the cases. Because sometimes people miss grabbing your card right at the beginning, so we'll place them again throughout the house. So a lot of times when they're out, you know, they might get away from you. We try to stay with clients to keep explaining the house, but if they are by themselves, sometimes they're more apt to grab a business card in the bathroom and they're by themselves or whatever, looking at in another area. So we'll place more cards throughout the house as well. I wrote these down because I always forget the name of them because I just do them by,
It's the 7 photo flyer.
there you go.
Um,
So this one right here, it's under enhanced
it says
reports.
New 7 photo flyers.
Yes, enhanced reports, new 7 photo flyer. So this one is cool because they have another QR code. And this QR code goes directly to your information. It has your information on it. So this is under the enhanced reports. So on the MLS, see, I just got another KB report right now that one of my clients is looking right now for a from KB Core. So it alerts me that they're looking right now. So that would be a good time to call that client that they're currently looking from my KB Core. So that's when you would call and say, hey, I see you're looking at such and such house. But anyway, so they can scan that and get more photos.
If you pull up the listing on the MLS and then at the top it says reports or something and play around with those, there's a ton that you can print. But she likes that one because it has the QR code already, and so you get their information from that. The only thing that sucks about that is it pulls the first 7 photos off the MLS.
Yeah.
So if there's like 6 outside photos, they all look the same. You can't customize that,
Yeah.
which is
But I like that one. Then there is another one.
she'll print
Oh.
the comps too.
Here's the comp one. So I like this one. So instead of just a regular standard CMA, I like using this one, which is called, it's under standard reports, and it's called the map listing reports. Because this is a CMA, but it shows them where they're at around there. So I like using this one instead of, because a standard CMA just gives them the information. But this one shows them where they're at and they're numbered. It shows them where the subject property is, and also shows them where the other ones are. So they can actually see, you can say, okay, but look at where this one sits compared to the subject property. So this is under the standard reports, and it's just called map listing reports. So I always have this one as well. The other thing that we do is, and if your phone or your phone company, or if you don't have it because it's too much money, but mine offers it, my telephone company offers it to me, and I have a hotspot. How many people of you have a hotspot available to you? Okay, see, a lot of you do. So take advantage of that. So when I get to my site, I turn on my hotspot and I turn on my laptop, and this one. This is my area here. And this is Bluff from last week. And I immediately get the house that we're doing the open house that day, and I get everything that has sold and everything current and everything that's pending or whatever and I zero in on, you know, like a half mile of there, so that when people are coming in and said, well, I don't really like this house, but I'm really looking for one with a pool, this one doesn't have a pool, whatever, then I can show them in the area where there are a pool. Or like the guy from last week, he wanted a 4-bedroom, and I showed him all the ones that were 4-bedroom in the area. And it narrowed it down quite a bit because 4 bedrooms are a little bit less availability. So I took it and I showed him right away. Or I had a client that came in, and her and her mom, the daughter and her mom, and I could immediately pull up an RPR. So they wanted to know how much their house was worth. They weren't looking to sell because they have like 400 plus equity in their home. But they're possibly going to be a client of ours because they're looking for a rental property. They want to pull out money out of their equity that they have and go on and maybe get an Airbnb or a rental out of that money. So we're going to stay in contact with them because I was you know, being on my hotspot, I was able to pull up their RPR and show them everything. They were able to tell me all the upgrades that they were able to do in the last couple of years. That was, you know, telling me that they probably had a little bit more equity than what the RPR was telling me, based on all the upgrades that they were telling
And
me.
one thing we always do when we do that, because some people might think their house is fantastic and it's not. Other people think, oh, it's not that great, but it is. So we always preface it by saying, you know, this is just kind of a snapshot. We would need to go to your house and take a look at it. We've actually had it to where we went getting done. It's over at 4, I'll be there at 5. We've had that happen. So don't give too much information, like 100%, this thing's worth $500,000, but you can give them this range and just go, you know, we really need to get into it. You can show us all the neat stuff you've done, and then hopefully you can get something out of that. And one thing too is, as we're talking about all of this stuff, one thing about open houses that, you know, I keep using Hal, but Hal does this very well too, is when somebody walks in, some people, a lot of people will just sit down and to basically go, hey, how you doing? We always greet them. You know, kind of see if you can interact a little bit, because some people don't want to even talk, which I take that as a challenge, and I'll get them to talk, or they'll tell me that, you know what. So you don't follow them, you know, by any means. If they want to go around, let them. But a lot of times, if depending on how interaction goes, they go, well, let me show you this over here. Let's start in the back, and they'll follow me. Well, once they start following you around, and you know, you're pointing out, oh my gosh, look at that. You know, the shower's got that great new glass, so it's been updated because the house was built 20 years ago. The flooring's been redone, and look at the baseboards. It's not the small stuff that it used to have. And then go from room to room. As I'm doing that, I'll continue to interact, and obviously I kid around a lot too. That's just what I do. But then I'll ask, do you live in the area? Are you guys renting? I just start little probing things, and you know, you don't have to be like boom, boom, boom. But as it's going, I don't do it right off the bat. As we're going around, and then you can learn some stuff about that. You know, a lot of times when my friends are looking, or someone, oh, you know, that's fantastic. One thing we have on our phones that Sherry's going to show you, it's an interactive business card. So if somebody says, you know, do you have your card? And I'm back there, I'll go, well, what's your number? Another way to get the number. So I get their number, then I know it's real, and then I'll save it, and then I'll go to our interactive business card, and then I'll send them our card. And that card has Sherry and I, it has both of our phone numbers, it has our emails, it has our Facebook, which is something too, you want to, this is something CJ's really good at, is now, especially because of social media, when you're doing that, when you first walk in, if you get there early, shoot a video, open the door. Here I am, I'll be here from noon to 4, and look at this beautiful. You don't have to show the whole house, but you go, I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever, and you just kind of shoot it, and ooh, and over here, and kind of thing, and then let that go out on Facebook, or I don't do Twitter, I don't know how that works, but it's Facebook, I do. So you do it on that, and then you see how many comments you get, and you will get people, guaranteed, that will see it and go, oh, I saw it on Facebook, and maybe tell your friends, share it.
Biggest thing right now is video. Video. It's the biggest thing, especially for, I mean, we're older, but CJ is not, so video is huge. I mean, put it everywhere, ahead of time of the open house, during the open house, and after the open house, once you start getting, you know, a lot of people asking and commenting and things like that. And the thing that he's talking about is the other thing that wasn't too expensive for us in the beginning is it's $30 a year. 60 for both of us is in the interactive business.
One more
card.
time, we'll show it to you.
I can show it to you and I can send it to you and you can see how it captures. I get their phone number, and that's the best way to get their information.
Then you know it's real.
Yes, because
Because if
then
they
you
say,
know
I
it's
didn't
real.
get it, well, then you gave me the wrong number.
Yeah. So this has all of your information. It has everything to where they can literally click a button to call me, text me, email me. It even has my social media on here. So this is, I get their number, I send it to them, and then I have their information. I immediately put it under client and their name. So I have so many contacts under client, and then the name. So then I'll
Like we'll
put
put
it
client
under.
bluff, open house, or whatever, so you kind of,
Then I'll label under company name or something. I'll put open house Park Drive, something like that. So I know, jog to my memory as to the name of the client and then where I met this person.
And then also when they're signing in on the KV Core app, if you had like a conversation with them about what they're looking for, where they live, or personal details, just go in on your KV Core right after they leave. Under their name, that's automatically inputted into your KV Core, and under the notes, write that stuff. Because then later when you follow up, you can say, oh, I mean, you can talk to so many people, but I remember this person's looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath. They have 3 kids or whatever. So
Yeah.
you can have more personal connection when you reach out to them.
I forgot to say that we always have music. I got that phone call, so it turned it off, but we always have music going because you don't want a dead atmosphere. We always
or
have
maybe
music
like a
going.
part, you know, you don't get too crazy, don't play rap, just drop the F-bombs, you know? But just make it kind of cool, you know, whatever genre you like.
Light rock.
Yeah. And
Light
then,
rock,
you know, have it in the
something.
background. Another thing we'll do, depending on the size of the house, is if there is somebody living there, we'll turn on at least one of the TVs. If it's football season, you put on a game. If it's, you know, if it's the Masters, if it's golf, whether you like it or not, you know, it's just, it makes it feel a little bit more homey for the people as they walk in. With that being said, if it is an empty house, take a chair or two. We bring them because we very rarely use them anymore, but we have these little folding chairs just like this, because there's nothing worse than an open house when nobody shows up, which we've been shut out one
They're little
time.
stools I got at
Yeah.
Target, but they're $10.
Because I'll go sit in a corner and like, oh my God, somebody walked in, you know, you hear it. So, you know, bring chairs and things like that as well.
But and I'm gonna open it up to where you guys can ask questions and then you can come up here and look at stuff, but we get asked all the time is what is the number one thing about an open house, and it's commonality. Find the common thing about how to connect with that person, especially if you're the only person there, or if you're working with a partner that day and you're talking to someone, is you've got to find a commonality. And that's the number one thing, besides all the technology, is ask them to find a commonality. Ask them where they went to high school. Ask them did they grow up in Fresno and Clovis. Ask them something to where pretty soon, I'm telling you, instead of six degrees of separation, it's 1.
You know somebody that knows
You will
somebody.
know
pretty soon you're best
someone that
friends.
knows someone. You will find that out very quickly. I mean, it's very few times that we don't find a commonality of someone, whether we know that they went to high school somewhere, that we know someone that went to that high school, or a sport, or you're gonna find something really quick. And that is the number one thing, is to make that connection. Whether they worked in the industry that you worked before and you know about it, or something. And that's the number one thing, is because you've got to get that interaction, and you've got to meet them where they're at.
Like, for instance, if you went to Bullard, whatever, and you're younger, okay, and they say, oh yeah, I went to Bullard. Well, did you have so-and-so? all you have to do is, and, oh yeah, I had that teacher, blah, blah, blah. Now you've connected in a little tiny bit. It pulls down the veil of, I'm trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
Because once that's gone and they open up, it's hilarious how we've had people come in, they don't want to talk, and an hour later, they're our best friends.
Because you don't want to have commission breath. You
Yeah.
don't want to feel like, even though you do have commission breath, you don't want to breathe on them that way. You want them to think that you're there just to have fun. Eventually, you will sell that house, but you don't want to feel like you're so dire, and trust me, we've been there, where, gosh, you have to sell that house to eat that month. But you don't want to make it seem like that. You just want to be able to have commonality and just to have fun, because, and just, don't be in such a hurry to get out of there. You just want to be able to just know that you're there all day, it's a work day, and that's where you're going to make money. Is that at open houses is where you're going to get a client, you're going to sell that house, you're going to get something out of it.
A great example of that is, and never prejudge anybody. And on one of the homes we sold, and when we first started, it was it's still a lot of money, but it was a ton of money 5 years ago. $640,000 was the house. We're getting ready to lock up. This couple comes in. The husband is the most stoic. He's in Levi's. He owns a company, but he runs it himself. He does septics, so he cleans septics, right? The wife was very talkative. Sherry, talk. This guy didn't want to talk, period. So I'm just doing like I'm doing now. And they left at 5:45, and they wanted to put in an offer in the house. So, okay, are you pre-approved? Blah, blah, blah. Well, we're paying cash. So he sends us one of their bank accounts. It's $1.5 million or whatever. And those are the people who bought the house. So if you're in a hurry, that's another thing. What we try to do, if it ends at 4, kind of feel like normally, hopefully you're going to be there past 4. We sold houses to people that they're walking in as we're walking out. And I'm like, well, hell, you want to see it? And we sold it to those people. So what I say is, try not to have like, oh, I've got a date at 5. Make that date at 6:30 or something. Have that little gap there. We did, not this weekend, but last weekend, we did 3 open houses. Hal and I did one, Sherry and CJ did one, and then we did a big one on the Bluff one. Had 160 people go through.
Wow.
Between all 3. So odds are we're going to get something out of one of them. You know what I mean? And the way some people can look at it, okay, what are you doing on a Sunday anyway? Or a Saturday? Maybe going to church and then take it in. Might as well do it at somebody else's house and maybe make $10,000 or whatever that number is. And the way it's being explained to me, and I love it, and I'm not a fisherman, but if you're a fisherman, if you go up to the lake and you don't throw the lure into the water, you can't catch anything. And you're gonna have days that you throw it in and out and you don't catch nothing. But you're gonna have a day you just throw it in there a couple times, boom, another one, boom. Imagine that. And those things, they all add up. It's money, and it's clients, which then can become another client, which then can become another client. So you got to look at it, in the big picture. So you're there for a reason. You're trying to get these people, engage them, and maybe the next week, we've seen where people showed up to our next one. After the first one, they wouldn't talk to us. Second one, they show up. Oh my gosh, you were in another one last week. Again, then they become friends. And hold on to these people, because 6 months ago, we closed on a client that we met 2.5 years ago at an open house. And we just kept talking to them. They didn't have the best credit. We sent them to get fixed. It took 2.5 years. But we sold them a house. Most people would have just let it, oh gosh, they suck. Everybody there, eventually, if they got a job and everything else, they can become a client. Like I said, so if you look at it that way, everybody walks in the door, that could be something.
Jack, it's interesting. A couple of times now they've made reference to, be prepared to spend a little bit more time. Okay, if you're getting there at 12 o'clock and it starts at 1, don't think that it ends at 4 o'clock.
Never.
It ends when
The
the
last
purpose for
person
you
leaves.
being there is done and nobody's coming. That's when it's over. And if you happen to get somebody that comes through at that 4:15, rejoice, because that might be the one.
Yeah.
You know, and they may have been through everybody else's, or they may have just started with this one. You never know. But invest yourself in everybody that comes through that door.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do, but I can assure you that it makes all the difference in the world.
And
We
follow
actually-
up, follow up, follow up.
We actually
follow
have a
up.
story about that. We weren't gonna do an open house, it was right before Christmas, it was 4 years ago, whatever. And, an agent called us and says, there's a $2,000 kicker to the selling agent if you do our open house and sell it. So it's an extra $2,000. So Sharon and I go, of course, we'll do it, because we've done open house and sold stuff, Super Bowl Sunday. Day after Thanksgiving is always a big one. Super Bowl Sunday, 4th of July. Because people don't, you can start early. It doesn't, 4th of July, they don't start till 3. Super Bowl doesn't start till 3:30. So because people are visiting, and maybe they don't want to watch the Super Bowl, but their families are having these parties. Anyway, so we're doing this deal, so a week before Christmas, I want to say. And we started a little earlier, and nothing. I mean, zero. Rainy day. One of those days, I'm sitting in the back, and I'm almost falling asleep, and Sherry goes, we will never do another open house at this time frame, because we had nothing. We got about 45 minutes till we're done. All of a sudden, car pulls up, another car pulls up, another car pulls up. Had about 5 or 6 people go through. Well, we made a connection with this one gentleman. He goes, well, my wife's not there. Oh, okay, well, if you want to see it, whatever. He leaves. Just as we're leaving, his wife pulls up with him. Not only did they buy that house, so we made the $2,000 extra, we sold their house, and then we sold their mother's house. Okay? And I mean, literally, we were done. So it turned into 3 deals. And we still are in contact with them, and they're always sending us people. So like Jeff just said, honestly, God, we will do this. So if, say you have 10 signs up, and you're working not just by yourself, I'll bail. I'll go out with 10 minutes to go fit, and I'll take the farthest sign and I'll work back. But I'll never take the ones around the house, because I want that up until we're really leaving. I don't know how many times we've turned the lights off, doors locked, and somebody walks up. Do you mind if I see this? Same thing as if you're there early. As long as your client doesn't matter, they're good with you, always tell when you're doing an open house, we usually show up an hour to 45 minutes early. Is that okay? Sometimes they'll say no because they don't want to leave. Other times, oh no, you're fine. You will get people stopping in that first hour that you're not really open. Okay?
Go ahead and come on up, guys, or if you've got questions want answered yet, or if you want to see the app, some of the apps that we have on my phone or whatever, come on up.
Before we go there,
Okay.
let's go a different direction.
Okay.
How do you engage them? I mean, really actually get them to talk to you, because so many people, no matter what you do, don't want to participate at all.
Yeah.
But Jack is a master at getting every one of them to roll over and let them scratch.
I always find some commonality.
CJ,
I don't know how, but it's how, again, I'm using that, same thing. I play pro baseball.
you always find
Everybody knows, they'll talk, do you like baseball? Well, yeah, I play a little bit, I don't tell them the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, well, yeah, my cousin, oh shoot, I played against them. Okay, where did you go to high school? Grew up in Fireland. Okay, Sherry donated a kidney to a guy who played in the big leagues for 17 years for the A's. Big superstar. Well, guess what? That comes out. I hate to tell you, we take advantage of that, because once that happens, again, you can see that leeriness of, oh my God, you're just trying to bug me. No. Hell, I showed houses, and the whole time we're just shooting the crap back and forth. Oh yeah, by the way, that's the third bedroom, and that's the bathroom.
Well, I think everyone is unique. You don't have to always find out what their uniqueness is. You guys bring something to the table. Whether like we grew up on the west side, so a lot of people you know, we'll say, well, where did you guys, have you always lived in Fresno? No, we grew up in a very small town. You know, you probably never heard of it, and then we'll say Fireball, and they'll go, oh, I know someone from Fireball. Well, we probably know them.
Try,
because
find
it's a very small town.
that deal. We've had it to where when somebody says that, I've got the people that we're talking about, I got their number, let's call them right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
here's so-and-so.
You guys bring something unique to the table. You just have to find out what that is and then bring that up, you know? So, or you
And-
just bring
yeah.
something up about, you know, where did you guys grow up? Did you grow up around here? And then they might say, no, I'm actually from the Bay Area. We just came down for the day. Well, really, what part of the Bay are you from? You know, I know someone from the Bay. Or I grew up in the Bay, or something like that.
I was born in Oakland, so I use that one too. You know, but be upbeat, you know, be welcoming to these people. And there's gonna be people that are gonna just basically say,
There will be.
screw you kind of thing. Okay,
You'll know
that's
when you have
fine.
that person.
That's fine. Sometimes I take that as a challenge. We had one, it was Jeff's house. It was Jeff's house. We were doing an open house. And it's just Sherry and I. And this family walks in, and the family's the nicest, the son-in-law and his wife and the kids. And then the mom of him comes in, and she wants zero to do with me. She won't even look at me. And of course, I keep going. And finally, Sherry's going, oh.
Well,
So
that-
she would talk to
was
Sherry. She
recently
did,
divorced.
yeah. I'm a man. She wanted nothing to do with me, and it was hilarious. I told Jeff that night. I called him. I go, "It's hilarious. It's embarrassing, but and thank God Sherry's there." So
Yeah,
you're
she
gonna get
did
that.
not want to talk to Jacka, so
Yeah.
they kept going on, and they
Because
were
I'm like, "Come on, I gotta win this.
facing him.
I gotta win. I gotta win." I didn't win. I didn't win that
Did
one.
not. So yeah, you'll notice the ones that there's some that, and you'll know the flippers. The flippers come in and they immediately pass
Bolt.
you, and they bolt to the backyard, and then they bolt to this, and then they bolt to that, and then you can go, are you a flipper? And then they'll go, yeah. So
Because they don't want any.
they don't want to hear
They're gonna
anything.
look at 10 houses that day.
Yeah, they're going into a bunch of houses that day. So
And don't think that if you don't have his nature, let's say, and you're not that active, that you're not going to be able to do it. Find your uniqueness
Yeah.
for yourself,
Yeah.
okay? Develop that personal dialogue. I mean, you can be as simple as, hey, I love that Chevy truck you have.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting one. Do you like it? Blah, blah, blah. And then you
which
go
I've
down.
done that on
Yeah,
on their cars.
You
Yeah.
go down the road. You just have to get the car going sometimes.
Mhm.
Just gotta come up with something, like, hey, those are great looking shoes. It just something.
And I've done that one too.
And you said that I don't, not to judge a book by its cover, because I probably have the all-time luck. I had a guy come through. He's wearing tennis shoes and blue jeans and a white T-shirt and a blue windbreaker, and he's got a ball cap on, and he's probably 60 at that time. And I was sitting on a high-dollar house, and he talked about the house for a minute or two, but he wasn't really interested in it. We started talking about rental properties and what the market was like. And pretty soon, I'm going to his house the next day to meet with him. And I listed a 245-unit apartment complex that was just the tip of what was to be about 1,250 units that I sold for him over the next 3 years. And so
With some
it
people,
all
it's not
became
even
all
talking.
because I engaged him
Yeah.
and knew what I was talking about. Knew the commercial side of the business and could get along with a guy who was very down to earth.
One more.
But had no signs of money.
Yeah, because you never know. But one thing too, especially when you're new, because we were new 5 years ago, just because I'm old, people thought I knew everything. I didn't know anything. But if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, don't lie. Because sometimes they're testing you. Okay? So if they ask you that question you truly don't know, go, you know what? I'm not sure, but I'm going to find out for you. And then find out. Because people will test you. And if you're lying to them, they'll have nothing to do with it.
The fun part about this is I remember, and it was only 4 or 5 years ago, Jack sitting in my office. Do you think I can make any money at this business? This is, really different for me than what I've done before. Can I do this? And I said, you've got the gift of gab and people like you. There's no reason in the world why you can't do this. And little did I know he was gonna go get the right partner and bring her into the mix.
Because we
So
were
that
going
the
married, I
team-
rented her for like.
So that when the team was born, the efficiency started to really roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so,
I sat with Jeff and I remember I go, God, Jeff, they want us to sell 12. I said, if we could sell 2, I'll be happier than that. You know, and then all of a sudden, little by little, like I said, we got 3, nothing. And I mean, literally nothing for 3 months. And then they got another one and so on. And then it just, the more people you engage, the more people you know, the more you'll sell, which then will roll into maybe somebody else. On our way over here, we got a call from one of our clients' friends. We want to buy a house. They live in the Bay Area. Guess what? We're going to sell the house. Because being that it's a referral from a friend, those people are not going to be a jerk. You know, whereas cold calling, you know, you're going to call 100 people, you might get 1 or 2. When you get referrals, closing ratio on a referral, it's got to be 98+%. Because they're, you know, it's a friend of a friend, and they trusted you, so these people need to trust you. So,
and every one of those deals leads to more deals.
yes.
You guys picked somebody up like in October, right? That you ended up doing 15 deals off of?
We've got 22 leads off of 1 sale. We sold to a guy off of, he called us off of Google. When we went and shot a video, did FaceTime of the house. We knew the agent, and this is when it was hard to get stuff, because the guy had tried through somebody else. We knew the agent. We basically said, what's it gonna take? She kind of said, she told us she used to work here, she doesn't make one. We got the deal hooked, did all the inspections within 4 days, which is another thing we always recommend. Found some stuff, got it. They said, we'll pay for it, but you guys gotta do it. Well, we have a book of all of these people we've done business with: cement, gardening, roofing, you name it. We had it all done for the guy. He paid us. He didn't have to step foot. And then a funny deal happens. He calls one night, or his wife calls. It's 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, and we answer the phone. And she says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I was trying to text you. But you answered the phone. Well, it rang. That's why we answered the phone. Well, the day we were closing, I want to say, we closed the day before, because they had bought 10 homes in the United States last year. Just one impressed. And so he says, can we come and meet you guys? Because we've only seen you on FaceTime. Yeah, sure. We met right here. They hopped in my truck. The wife says, we bought 10 homes. You guys have been unbelievable the way you handled everything. You answered. If you didn't know the answer, you got it. Kind of what we're talking about. And so, really, really nice people. As they're getting ready to get out of the car, they go, we're going to send you some clients. Well, everybody says that. That afternoon, we had 5 calls.
I just got off of a call,
Yeah.
one of
And
them,
since then, we've had 22 people
right before
Yeah.
we came here.
off of one.
I was getting ready for a call, and one of their clients or one of their referrals called me, and he goes, hey Sherry, can you talk real quick? And I said, well, I gotta get ready for a call, and then I gotta head to do this class. And he goes, well, just real quick, I've got another client. This is not the guy that sent all the ones, it's one of the other ones. We just closed on his house about a month ago. Because I just got another really good friend, she wants to talk to you real quick. She's redoing her equity, and then she'll be ready in a month, and she's gonna be buying, so.
And all of this will happen if you stick to it. Jeff will tell you, I never thought it would. But if you keep to it, I would sit with Bob Wigington sometimes, I've known Bob a long time, and Bob would get 2 phone calls, and they would both come listening, and I'm just sitting there with, I'm never,
You let them-
Danny.
you had a question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You had a question?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, it was more of you guys' advice. It's happened to me twice, maybe it's happened to you guys where I've been to open houses where there's an agent there, but they're with their client and doing like a FaceTime, right? So they're kind of walking around, and 2 times it's happened where the client, I think it's because they were there in person, they would never be as loud, but where they just were being so loud and vocal about all this stuff that they didn't like, you know? And so I almost wanted to be like, how can I like try to tell them to like, I don't know, because other people are
We actually
you know?
did have, we did an open house, or actually, yeah, and this guy came in, and they ended up buying a house, by the way. But very, very loud and things like that. So I went into one of the rooms and I just said, hey, can you put in your earbud or something? And because there was other people in the house. And when those people, they get a little bold because they're not there.
Right.
You know, things they would never say, oh my God, how ugly is that color? That maybe that was the best color those people loved. So yeah, just because normally they'll ask when they're coming in, they'll go, is it okay if we FaceTime? Or can I shoot a video? Of course. But just say, hey, look, if there are people here, just, you know, either put in an earbud, whatever works for you guys.
And totally random, but had somebody asked me at my last open house, and it was like an owner occupied, if they could use the bathroom. And I was so taken aback. I'm like, I genuinely don't.
You know what I said? I go, you went by the house.
I'm like, I guess you
I
can, if you have to.
Well, like when little kids and stuff like that,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
agree
just,
with
it's
that.
just whatever, it's up to you on that deal, you know?
If it's vacant, they usually bring a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, that's actually in there,
Yeah.
a roll of toilet paper, just to be on the safe side.
I would always have something like that and
Well, and also
sanitizing
you're gonna
wipes.
be there for 4 hours. So.
Yeah, sanitizing wipes and paper towels, and that's always in there, yeah, just in case, you never know, there's always emergencies, you never know, so that type of stuff's always in there too. So, do you guys have any questions on other things?
Oh, I just had a question on how you get your electronic card so you can.
Yeah, so, there's several companies out there. I did this one, let me get my glasses. So you guys can Google the interactive business card. I went with, it's dbiz.com, so it's D-I-B-I as in boy, Z.com, dbiz.com. I went with that one because I researched them, different companies, and they had the easiest platform to get going, and it's only $30 per year. And I had looked at other companies, and they were just the easiest one.
When we first did it,
You can even
we
incorporate
took the
video
under one, and I
into
think it
it.
was free for 2 months, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, they had.
But it had their logo on it and stuff, and
Well, it's $30. I take that back. It's even cheaper. It's free, actually, but their branding, their, like you said,
their logo.
their logo thing will be always at the bottom. So it's technically free, but $30 to remove their branding. So, but there's other ones, but it's just that I can send you, I'll show you what I do.
I spelled it wrong.
D-I-B-I-Z.
Okay, you
So I'm gonna
wanna
send
say
it
how
to
to
you right
check
now.
out the
I'll show you
stuff?
what I do. So you bring it up, you're gonna
Well,
message.
because they can come
So
up and see everything and ask,
what is your phone number?
because it's getting late.
287-9038.
So so I usually, when I send it to a client, I'll usually put a quick little message on there, to say, hi, it was nice talking to you, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, I'll just say, thank you, Sherry and Jack DeBoe, Realty Concepts. But this literally, they can just hit a button to call me, text me, email me. They can hit my social media. It's super easy to get all this onto this platform. It takes 2 seconds to even add your logo, your branding, your pictures, things like that. And that's why I went with them, just because it was an easier platform. There's other interactive cards, but this is the easiest way when we're in an open house. Even if they've already signed in, and as I'm talking to them, I'll just say, hey, well, what's your phone number? And I can get that information for you, and I'll shoot it over to you later. They give me their cell phone number, I shoot it over to them, and then now I have their name, and I'll say, what was your name again? And then I have their information, and I immediately save that number as a client contact. And then the second thing to being able to have commonality. The second most important thing on any open house, and really anything, is follow up. Follow up, follow up. It takes 13 contact touches, whether it's through email or talking or whatever. It takes 13 before someone actually will respond to you back to make a connection to where they might do something. 13.
So if you call twice and you don't get a hold of them, call a third time. What
Keep-
I do on that
keep
day,
calling.
I know we're
Email.
running late. What I do is
Something.
I'll call and I'll go, hey, this is Jack, Realty Concepts, we met you a couple weeks ago. Said, you told me to give you a call, whether they did or not. And, you know, if you're interested, hey, great. If you're not, let me know. I said, and I'll tell them, I'm gonna keep calling until you tell me no, or shoot me a text. And sometimes I'll never do that either, but at least I give them that option to where I'm not bugging. But until they tell me no, I'm gonna call those people.
Jack, and most of the people tell you that nobody ever follows up?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
never changed.
We have got,
That's what it's
Yes.
always been.
this is a whole nother deal, but we've gotten clients from other agents at other places because they just quit calling them. Just quit calling them. Like, well, what do you mean? Anyway, all the questions, you guys can come up and see all this stuff and we'll, you know, tell you everything.
Yeah.
And Katie's gotta go over some stuff with you.
I mean,
so.
all of you already know this, but to check out open house signs, we have a little QR code on the door. Scan it with your phone, tell us how many signs you're gonna check out, and then make sure you just bring them back by the following Tuesday, or else you get a late charge and all of that. So you'll see it when you're checking out, and we have them available at both offices. So if you check out from either one, just make sure you always take back whatever you check out to the correct office, because we try to keep the inventory the same. So that was it. Yeah.
That was awesome.
So come up here and look around, guys. You can see how I have, this is Bluff Avenue. This is our open house from last week. You can see how we do the interactive map, so people can see the solds, the currents, you know, things like that. We always do whatever open house we're doing, so that's always set up.
And also, can we just like give Jack
Does it- yeah.
They took time out of their day to help you guys because they're wonderful, so we appreciate
Oh,
you guys
thank
so
you.
much.
A big thank you, guys, for doing this.
I know, like, now let's all look at their things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, come and look at everything. You can see everything.
Last time, yeah.
Yes, so it's just an app, you have it on your phone if you want to, and we just, do that question, if we make that otherwise.
Honestly, I should have ordered stuff on Amazon.
Oh yeah, Amazon.
Just look up like acrylic paper holder or acrylic wire holder.
That's how
This reports, it asks that, you know, this is all the report. So we always have this, when it's not super busy, I'll have this on these reports, and it's like this is also. Oh, so that's really good, because then one of us, really good brand group, at least, so one of us will grab this and say, hey, we're taking care of it, and be monitoring that. That's when we're busy. Otherwise, we prefer everyone to do this because then we've got everyone capturing everyone.
Yeah, yeah. For 9.5
Jack,
And then so when you're done, we have all of this. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's why we have it down here to just like set up everything, because it does take that long.
And if I want to, I'll use it
added a lot.
as, you know,
There's a house on there. You can set up 2 different.
Are we able to look at the cookies too?
Look at it.
Also, there's great cookies for you guys to make.
Oh, really?
That's the dogs there. I don't.
Yeah.
By changing the platform so that
But-
everything goes out to them. Sound talking instead of generic.
Right, thanks. I know you got a question.
I do.
See?
So how do you guys go about like
Good.
memorizing the different like specs and like what makes the house? Like, if people come up to you and have a question, how do you do it